My name is BigBizzE, and I want to talk to you guys about schooling right now. My personal opinions on this. If you don't share them, they're just opinions. Leave a respectful comment, proclaiming your discourse from the opinion wherever you may choose, and create something out of it. Hopefully, has there been a more misguiding phrase in human history than "curiosity killed the cat"? Why did it kill the cat? I don't understand. I'm confused. Is it because of the secretive and stagnant culture that we've found ourselves in? This non-progressive and money-oriented culture. I mean, one of the greatest things that humans have as a species is the imagination and curiosity, creativity. Why is it that in school there's a hierarchy of subjects that they teach, starting with math at the top, science, languages, and art is always down at the bottom all over the world? Why is that? Um, we live in a society where we are teaching kids currently a schooling model that was invented 130 years ago, back when the Industrial Revolution was still, booming. There were jobs everywhere, and they needed cookie cutter workers to work their cookie cutter factories and work their, 9 to 5 jobs in the factory. And that just doesn't happen anymore. You can see it in the falling apart economy of the Western civilization at the moment. We attempt to teach our youth a schooling system that just leads them to having no jobs because they're overqualified. You back 40 years ago, if you had a bachelor's degree, you're guaranteed a job. Now it's degrees don't mean anything. And that's because we're not preparing children to be creative and imagine teaching themselves how to prepare themselves for jobs that don't exist yet. The technological advancement, everyone's blaming computers for removing jobs, and that's just because they're looking at old business models. Computers aren't removing jobs, they're creating more jobs than they ever destroyed. It's just that people are unable to see, how to get into this, mindset of preparing yourself for jobs that you don't know exist yet. You see a huge lack of, the distribution of wealth. I'm not talking about communism. I'm talking about why the middle class is disappearing, because only the very smartest and the most creative in society now, ones that, as Einstein would put it, I think he said, "I'm amazed my curiosity survived formal education." Only the top few that are able to do this are, the ones that are able to innovate in this new world and take advantage of jobs that hadn't existed by the time that they made them jobs. And thus they're accumulating massive amounts of wealth, and the majority, the average intelligent child is, left starving because he's being prepared to do architecture or some job that there really isn't a whole lot of space for. And, to reference the 1100s, the Arab culture was much more technologically advanced than Europe by far. And every confrontation between, Christianity and the Muslim Arab world, since, back then they didn't really communicate all that often, it was very overwhelming how more advanced, the Muslim culture was, with many, philosophers and that sort. But they kind of developed this cultural stagnation, lack of advancement, because they believed that, the universe was static and unchanging. Well, it isn't. It's been proven in science now. And by the time Napoleon invaded Egypt in the early 1800s, the Arab world was astonished because they had no idea that Europe had progressed as much. The Industrial Revolution and the Renaissance and such. And it just shows that you really have to be ready to adapt to culture. And I just don't think the schooling system that we are teaching our kids right now, our kids, making it sound like I have kids. I just graduated high school, and I can tell you from a firsthand opinion that it just doesn't work. I was diagnosed with ADD, given a brown pill bottle, and told to take them because I wasn't normal. And you know, how can you expect a child to sit down and go through, listen to an hour and a half class or lecture on a subject they don't even want to hear after being raised playing video games and watching TV and all this constant stimulus? It's just, ADD is really just, fueling an industry that is damaging in the long term. It may generate jobs and that kind of thing, but when you're damaging brains of children, like I know my brain has been damaged by taking amphetamines, which are street drugs basically for ADD. Um, is you're killing the creativity. I'm not nearly as creative as I once was because my brain is hardwired into this kind of singular and organized thinking that schooling wants you to have. And I wasn't born that way. I try not to be anymore. And the schooling system just doesn't adapt to it. It's like this. They tell kids they're ADD because it's just a failure of the schooling system to adapt to how children are now. For example, I've had some conversations with 6 year olds that a lot of adults that I see talking to children. They talk with this kind of matter of fact. This is how it is, a way of things. When I talk to children, I prefer to keep an open mind and hear what they have to say because as they're completely innocent to the world. And I've had some conversations with 6, 7 year olds that you'll be talking about something that you think and they will just out of complete curiosity mention something or ask a question, and you'll be like, wow, I would never have thought of it that way. That's very interesting. And it just goes to show how much education has really dampened my sights for curiosity. I'm content playing video games because I don't want to have to go out and do 10,000 hours of work in a subject that I probably won't by the end of it and hate my job. So just play video games and it kills the economy. I'm not gonna lie to anyone. I just my point is, if you guys are still in school, if you have children, or you just got out of school, or you're unemployed, keep your mind open. Then just keep your mind open. It's said that if insects were wiped off the earth right now, life would perish within 50 years. If humans were wiped off the earth, life would flourish within 50 years. So, just keep that in mind and know that the one thing that humans really have going for them is their creativity, their imagination. That's what sets us apart from all other forms of life. And in my opinion, those are the most important forms of intelligence, because if you think about it, intelligence is just an accumulation of knowledge which was discovered through creativity and imagination and trial and error and just being motivated to do something with the world. And this whole kind of apathetic society that's developed in Western culture is clearly not going to last. I mean, we're burning through ridiculous amounts of natural resources at a very quick rate, and places like Liberia are complete, cannibalistic shit shows. It's not going to work. It's not sustainable. And I think cultures is created out of humans, and all humans in this culture and Western culture right now have gone through the schooling system, and they're currently living in a society that schooling system does not prepare them for. I mean, think about it. The brain is the one thing humans have going for it. When a horse is born, it can run within like an hour or two of being born. A baby is an extremely delicate creature for upwards of 3 years, because that is the time that it is entrusted of that child's parents to raise it and teach it and give it all the knowledge that humans have already discovered so it can progress. And while I'm not saying that humans have stopped progressing, I'm saying that it's completely changed. We're sending our kids to school and preparing them for a job that won't exist by the time they're done it. Technology, the internet, everything is changing. There's a revolution right now. There's a mass extinction of life. It's just a very, very, volatile environment. And I think you guys need to keep an open mind about it. Keep creative. Don't let people's opinions persuade you too much. Use reason. But above all, yeah, just keep creative so you can stay ahead of the game, or else you're going to fall behind and eventually be trampled on. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't take this too seriously. It's just my opinions on a few things. Peace.